The most important set at the last summit, a grand finals. It was ProtoBanham versus Light, Mimin and Lucina versus Fox. The best in America versus someone who, after this win, has a claim for best in the world, or at the very least, one of the best in the world.
Right? So I don't see them as zoning tools because okay, yes, they are zoning tools, but at like high level, they stop being zoning tools. Let's look at it that way. It's kind of like Rob is a zoner until you get really good at the matchup, and then his zoning is super fucking ass. And what does Rob do with his projectiles instead? He dashes in and then he dash backs turnaround gyros. And the reason he does that is because the gyro is a whiff punish. That's what he does. So these zoning tools, they're not meant to like zone out areas because they don't make progress against an opponent who knows how to handle them. Right? And at that point, what they become good at is like whiff punish tools.
I think the way ProtoBanham pilots both Mimin and Lucina makes him a threat that is very unique at the top right now. We see a lot of character specialists and a lot of people who play multiple characters that don't really cover each other. Think about Byleth, Corrin, Aegis for Leo. They're all good characters. He's maining multiple of them, but he's not using them to cover each other the way that ProtoBanham is doing. We can see it in this set. ProtoBanham is switching between Mimin and Lucina, even though it's the same matchup, right? It is still Fox. And the reason for that could be like the stage, something that he's noticing about Light's play, the momentum of the set. There's a lot of reasons why he could be switching, but it's not just a matter of I like these characters, it's a matter of these characters complement each other and there's specific information that allows me to optimize my character pick. I really enjoy that part of ProtoBanham, and I personally think, like I said, after this win, there is a claim to the #1 spot for ProtoBanham. He is just so consistent in his performance, and his wins are off the charts, right? We've seen him beat Leo at the last summit as well, piloting the Min, and the list goes on and on. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this type of content, be sure to drop a like, comment, or a subscribe. It lets me know that you enjoy these type of videos and that I should be putting out more of these. Without any further ado, let's finish off the summit review arc with the grand finals. Guys, please enjoy.
What are you trying to tell me? That I can dodge bullets?
Trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't have to.
Light advantage state is art, and somehow Proto wins. We're about to find out. We're about to find out. Two more games. Okay. Good reaction. Good out of shield. Okay, corner pressure. This is something that Japan does a lot. When I played Shuton, he did this a lot against me. Rising aerials from ledge. Very, very, very common thing to do in Japan. I think it's very powerful. I like it a lot. Nice parry. Uh-huh. Ooh, okay. Parry on that nair is insane. Looks like either it's experience or a really good guess by Light. I love these air dodges from Light. Just jumping over, air dodging here, good reactions, and then cornering, empty land, exactly what he wants. But this is where you see like a little bit of a struggle for Fox in this matchup, is that you throw her off stage, you don't get to gimp her, right? And now she gets to try reversals, and now look, she's back on the stage, and you didn't get to pressure her much. And that really is a hard part for this matchup. But this is where we see a little bit, make it play a funny gif, true. One thing I think Proto did in the set was mixing up aggressive options to disrupt Light's attempts to put on pressure. Yeah, like that's the thing. Jesus, that hit. That's the thing about Mimin is like, Mimin is not a zoner. Well, she kind of is, but like the way I think about Mimin is that her most important quality is that she's really good at whiff punishing. Ramram at its best is a whiff punishing tool to me. You can use it to zone a little bit, of course, but like zoning often puts her in kind of bad spots. She cannot really tag on damage on shields. There's an obvious diagonal blind spot, and while she can move to kind of like mitigate it, she only has one Ram. So if you start out with the dragon, then that's not going to cover a lot, but that's going to keep you, that's going to force you to retreat afterwards. And then you can have Ram open to cover yourself, but then like that's not the best mix up. And if you lead off of Ram, you're not making a lot of progress in neutral. So like there's a lot of different choices that you want to make. Like leading off Ram or leading off Dragon, which is huge. And I think for Proto, what I like about Proto is that he's willing to just like, throw these out until he wins, or until the opponent forces him to do something different. And that's something that a lot of minions don't have. They eventually like dash grab or dash attack or whatever, and that is the issue. And you can see with Banham, look at this mix up. Shoots Ram, lands, shoots Ram. So what you're seeing from him is that the way he's committing in these situations is pure Ram. So he's not even using Dragon to complement the Ram, which is something, again, that a lot of minions don't do because they want to use the second arm to like mix the opponent up. But it's a Rekka, right? It's a 1-2 punch. You can decide not to do the second arm. And for Banham, he has a lot of those mix-ups kind of like figured out very well. The issue with Ram is it deals like, literally 127.5, 129.8, so like 2.3%. The character's really whiff versus Min. She seems like a clear-cut zoner. Are you not describing zoning? So here's the thing, right? Let's say Min's here. You want to rush her down, so you jump in on her. What does she do? She dashes back and she throws out an arm. Her zoning is not very effective because it doesn't beat shields. Her zoning is not really effective because it has a very obvious blind spot that is hard to cover. Her zoning is not really effective because there's a lot of commitment patterns in Min arms that, again, people are not really abusing well enough yet, but that will happen. And I think at its peak, what you want is you want to like dash forward, seem vulnerable, and then dash back and throw out an arm to cover yourself. That's not zoning. That's whiff punishing. That's Greninja dash forward, dash back, and then whiff punish dash attack. That's literally Greninja, or Mithra. And if you look at Proto's patterns, well, he doesn't actually win a lot of neutral yet. Fox can get into that high approach angle, but a lot of times committal is Fox. That's true. So all of these hits, this is just like, that's chip, that's fine. This is just a really bad shield drop. This is just a really bad dash. Like, yo, what's up, Aka? You can look at these as like zoning tools, but like these all like realistically at like really high level of the matchup should never work, right? So I don't see them as zoning tools because like okay, yes, they are zoning tools, but at like high level they stop being zoning tools. Let's look at it that way. It's kind of like Rob is a zoner until you get really good at the matchup, and then his zoning is super fucking ass. And what does Rob do with his projectiles instead? He dashes in and then he dash backs turnaround gyros. And the reason he does that is because the gyro is a whiff punish. That's what he does. So these zoning tools, they're not meant to like zone out areas because they don't make progress against an opponent who knows how to handle them, right? And at that point, what they become good at is like whiff punish tools. You know what I see as like a zoning tool? I think something like pallets are a zoning tool because they like set up good situations while zoning the opponent out. They don't really whiff punish. They just claim that space. Another thing that I think is like a zoning tool is like Youngling Boomerang, right? That's like a clear zoning tool. You cannot whiff punish with it. It's just there to like zone the opponent out and like claim space for a long time. Belmont's Cross, zoning tool. But like these arms are not zoning tools, to me at least. I understand why people think she's a zoner, but I think that's also like a thing that like she becomes less of a zoner the better you get against the character. I agree, Gurbo. Ground speed can only do so much against Min. That's very, very true. I'm curious if you think NA is weak against Min because Proto does get challenged a lot more in Japan. Yeah, I would say so. I think NA is very aggressive as a region, which I think is a bad thing. And in Japan, they're a lot more defensive. And that's what you got to think about the weaknesses of these characters. We talked about this earlier when we analyzed Belmonts. What did we say about Belmonts? What is their weakness? Is that they struggle to pressure the opponents. So if you're aggressing into Belmonts, that's like their biggest weakness in neutral that you're not abusing. The entire time you're aggressing, they're playing the best version of their character. When you play aggressively against Min, she's playing the best version of her character, unless you're a character that aggresses in a really good way, like Yoshi or Mario or Wolf or Cheek, right? Like those characters can aggress, or like Speed or Choke or like Mithra. Those characters can aggress because their aggression is stronger than Min zoning. But for all the other characters, you cannot aggress into Min. You got to play defensively, make sure that her zoning doesn't accomplish anything, and then when she struggles to pressure you because her grab is probably like, it's not the worst grab in the game because Zerasu's grab exists, but it's like, it's fucking up there, dude. And it's slow and it doesn't have combos. At least it gets the dragon buff, which is absolutely insane. That's like the plus point, right? The dragon buff. But outside of that, her grab's ass, right? And like she doesn't have any tilts to pressure you with. Her nair got nerfed. She cannot pressure you with her nair either. So like her aggressive mix-ups are just bad. So what you see in Japan is because Japanese players are not like focused on aggression as like a main goal. They deal with Min a lot more easily. Now, can Min still chip away at these type of players? Yes, of course. She's a good character. But at least you're forcing her to play more aspects of her character, including aspects that are subpar. That's what you got to do. You got to make her play aspects that are subpar. Zelda is the same way. Like Sabaka's saying, I see Zelda the same way. Like, that's because Zelda has a similar dynamic. If you aggress into Zelda, she's fucking broken. But as soon as you start camping her, you force her to aggress on you. Her aggression sucks. Her footsies are ass. So as long as you play into the strengths of your opponents, you're not playing the matchup well. And sometimes you have to. Like, if the matchup is that bad, you kind of have to. Like Ganondorf against Min, you don't get to play defensive. I'm sorry, dude. That's just how it is. But even in those cases, you got to add it as a bit of a mix-up. Okay, let's continue watching. Okay. I think nice clash, and then you die. Or, well, you should have. The early LB there was super clutch. Yep, dash back. Okay. Thank you for the breakdown. That's why I'm here. Thank you for the support. It is September after all. Look at how little Banham is actively like zoning the opponent out with like arms, right? Yeah, Snake is insane in that sense. Like, he's not doing it. He's waiting for a commitment, and then he comes back in with the attempt to whiff punish. He messes up, but you can see how he's doing what I'm talking about, right? He's like, the role of the arms are to make the opponent want to aggress on him. That's what the arms do. What I don't like from Light in terms of playstyle, and I'm like, this is what I think Light's biggest growth opportunity is he doesn't feint as nearly as much as he should be. He feints when he's already in the opponent's face to some degree, yes, but I think he can feint between strategies a lot better using a little bit more nuanced movement. But again, it's like the RPS thing, right? He's playing a different RPS, which means that the information is less relevant, which means that he doesn't get as much reward. So that's like a trade-off, but it's a trade-off that I think he should make. Again, that's just my opinion of him as a player. I'm not Light. I think there's a lot more nuance to, of course, how he plays than just what I've seen, right? Because like, I cannot look into his brain. I don't see every match that he plays. But from what I gather when I see his play, I always feel like if he feints the way Cola does, he would be so much better. But then, like, he understands Cola's feints, so Cola's feints don't work on him. And I think maybe he's looking at the game from the perspective of, like, you know, if it gets figured out, it does, like, it's not very powerful, so I might as well go for better coverage, which I understand, but I personally don't agree with. I think it has a place, and I don't see that place represented in his play enough, at least in my opinion. Yeah, so he tries to clank away an arm. He does so. This is fine. This is good. Good stall by Proto. Using the smash, I like that. That's a very unique option. Don't see that a lot from Midmans. Okay. Hey, that's pretty good. And the kill off of it as well. PB. God damn. Yo, iCrit, thank you for the 1 month. First timer. Welcome. Appreciate you coming through and supporting me. Appreciate that a lot. I love that answer. Footstool downer. I need to learn footstool with Shulk as well, unfortunately. Yeah. It's hard to tech the nair. I like this by Proto. He's using more megawatt basically to make progress against shields, which is very, very important against Fox. Now I don't like it as much. I feel like Shulk has footstool up B, yeah, on like 99% of the cast. Which is huge because a frame 4 out of shield option for a Slooker. So here I feel a switch would be best because now he wants to claim this space a little bit more proactively with arms, and he doesn't get to, which is how he gets zone broken. Why? I don't know, man. Imagine being in Smash Art and doing footstool out of shield up B. Sounds cool. Okay. Oh my goodness. Wait, Proto wins this game, right? Oh my god. Here's the Ram. That's what I mean. Claiming that space preemptively. But the reward is so low. Look at this. 3%, 2%. Like Light is very objective about like what the risk reward is here, which I like a lot about his play. I think in that sense he's very prepared to just like take the hits that he needs to. Is footstool better than out of shield options? So footstool out of shield is at its fastest frame 4. Could be frame 5, depending on the height of the character, which makes it generally like frame 4 is probably the fastest out of shield option in the game outside of like Game Watch up B or Mario up B. So for a lot of characters, it gives you a faster out of shield option, and it hits on both sides, which is also an important thing, right? So let's say your fastest option is also out of shield, like Diddy, which is like frame 6, I think. If they hit the back of your shield, you cannot up smash them. So you get a footstool banana out of shield or footstool Z drop banana, and then you get a frame 4 option behind you, which complements your shield a lot. That's insane. Was that buffed Dragon? It is buffed Dragon. So this is the thing about Ram is that once Proto starts confirming like this, it starts getting scary. So when we look at all the other Ram hits, the reason he didn't confirm is because he didn't want to hard commit. And that's kind of like the most important dynamic in this set is like, okay, when does Proto dare to commit to Ram? Because that is when Ram starts being respectable. And that's where the rushdown stops being effective. So I think that's something that I want to see in this final game. Like when does Proto decide to commit to his Ram conversions? Zedra banana is faster, but you get banana on both sides of footstool. Okay, that's fair enough. Going to Lucina. Oh, okay, so we're not going to be looking at Mimit. Okay, fair enough. Lucina is like low-key really good, and she's always has been. Okay. So Proto's playstyle with Lucina is very weird. He's very aggressive in a way that I think other people don't get away with. And I think it's because of his movement. So what I like about Proto is like, look at this. Forward movement, fair. So he forward airs, claims forward space, dashes back twice to give him more time to react. Then dashes back in, dash shield, rising there. Insanely good sequence. Jumps from a safe distance, right? So uses the extra space to react, then uses that space to start a jump from this distance. Now, if he started this jump from, let's say here, he would have been fucked. But because the distance is perfect, he gets to claim this space. So this nair is not meant to hit Fox. This nair is not a hitbox meant to aggress. What this nair does is this nair is a aerial shield that accompanies Lucina to this position. That is all this nair has to do, is make sure that Lucina gets this stage. And as you can see now, if he does succeed with landing, which he does, he now has a positive situation because this is plus against Fox while claiming center stage. It's a zoning there. It depends on how you define zoning. To me, it's a nair that accompanies movement. So sometimes, right? Sometimes, let's say I want to down tilt Fox. I would dash forward and down tilt. The dash is there for the down tilt, right? The movement complements the move. That is dumb movement. However, in this situation, the move complements the movement. I cannot spell. These are two similar but entirely different dynamics. Okay, because one of them is I am moving to attack, and the other one is I am attacking to enable my movement. And at the end of the day, movement focus is always better. There's exceptions, of course, but almost always. So he dashes back again, stays safe, and then gets the punish. So like the way he takes space and then uses it as a resource, spends it, and then claims it back, spends it, claims it back, spends it, claims it back. Make it so hard to play against him. And he doesn't do it all the time, right? Like he is willing to mix it up and go like aggressive twice or defensive twice. And I like that. Like, he is very aware of the information that he is sending to his opponents. He's very aware of the core mix-ups that he's relying on, and he's not overextending within the confines of the established dynamics that he prefers. Ooh, okay. Soul box. I agree, main. It is interesting. I don't like Leon's playstyle. I have helped him out a little bit, and I think it's gotten a bit better though. I've coached him twice now, and both coaching sessions were huge improvements to me. He actually, like, I coached Leon when he played against Leon, and then he lost 2 games, and then he started doing what I said, and he just won 2 games, or he won 3 games in a row. It was really, like, he even 3-stocked him. It was really cool. Also a little bit frustrating. I was like, why aren't you just doing what I'm telling you to do? And then he started doing it and it worked out. You should look at the set. Leon versus Leon. I love Light's corners pressure in this game so far. He's denying aggression very, very consistently from ProtoBanham. Like what you said earlier about playing for aggression or defense and using the inherent mix-up tier. It's exactly. Yeah. Does Proto make consistently hitting their specs easier? It is not easy, and he actually fucks it up a few times. So I mean, he hasn't hit one spike yet. But it's not easy. It is like it's easy-ish because she's floaty and her sword is huge, but it's not easy. But it's easy-ish. Very aggressive by Light. I like it. Using the forward air as a time mix-up too. I feel like Light is keeping up with Proto extremely well here. Curious to see how this swings in Proto's favor. What the hell? Proto is so happy to do this every single fucking time. He's done this twice now. This double jump to the stage. This is like, if you're watching this, don't do this. Like, the reason he gets away with this is because he builds up like 5 layers of mix-ups here, and then he does this. You probably cannot do this. So if you're looking at this, please don't do this. If you do this without the proper preparation, you die. Very, very often. We saw Gluto do this without the proper preparation, and he got demolished for doing it. By Light himself, which says enough, right? Like if Gluto doesn't get away with it, but Proto does against the same player, then it's not the player's fault. It's like it's not Light's fault. It's the opponent doing something different, right? Because it's the same action essentially. Proto is very aggressive from ledge, but also very happy to like mix up with just like standard ledge options. I like that. Yep, not taking it. Good reaction by Light. Again, look at the way Proto is using stage control. I just want to highlight this. This is so good. Dash forward, shield, jump back, rising there, dash back again, jump forward, but feigns with a drift, and then jumps forward for real. The layers on just like those 5 steps are actually insane. And it makes it so hard to get an exact punish on where ProtoBanham is moving, because he also mixes up which hitboxes he uses to accompany his movement, right? Oh my god, Proto. And you can see how Proto makes such liberal use of the stage, which makes it harder to pin him down when you're Light. And that's the biggest difference between Cola and Proto. It's just like it's literally just like the way they treat their stage control. I think that's the biggest difference, because they're both aggressive players for different but similar reasons. But the difference is that like Proto is flexible, whereas Light is a little bit more static. That's a shame, honestly. Light had that. That's a shame. Oh, that was so clean. Nair delays the Nair too, right? Very, very smart. Doesn't just bite, just delays it. Tries to cover, realizes he's late, sets up pressure, and then hard reset jump. Love that. Light is so consistently using vertical space to mix up his positioning, as we saw, for example, against Cola. And Proto just like denying that just super hard. Love that decision making. Normal get up again. Gets pressured very well by Light. Oh, that's a shame. Light's choking. Light, no, the chokes. But Fox Bear, shut up. I want Fox to get 0 buffs, dude. Again, denies the vertical play. Very well done by Proto. Like, reactionary up air with Lucina is extremely potent, which is a huge part of her gameplay, in my opinion. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Backer pressure again. Light picking it up. He's definitely not at his best. You can see that in his play. Proto's Ruthless is built to winning. He could easily become the best. Yeah, I agree. I think, like, it shows what I believe, which is that the current meta at top level is very aggressive. And I think a lot of people would disagree with that. I think a lot of people are like, oh, Ultimate is such a defensive game. You have to be so, like, defensive, blah, blah, blah. No, I think at top level, this game is super aggressive. But the aggression is in a different form. Oh, okay. Mixes up his strategies so much. It's extra impressive how well he uses the information he is. Dude, I love Proto's presence of mind. Like, you can say, oh, he's super aggressive, it's so risky, but like, I think the way he is using information to aggress makes it work. Makes it not risky, makes it not swingy, makes it not any of those things. Proto is extremely good. And he also shows a lot of the inherent flaws in Japanese playstyles, in my opinion. Because I think a lot of the things that Proto does are things that Japanese players don't do. And I think that's a lot of the reasons, like, when Japanese players kind of like struggle to beat certain players, it's because of things that Proto does do that they don't do. Like, for example, using information to play aggressively. That's the slingshot by Proto, by the way. Okay. Light makes this impressively close. There it is.
So, lots of interesting topics in that review. Hope you guys enjoyed. For today's fun fact, did you know that there are only 2 frame 1 normals in this game, and they are Zero Suit's jab and Little Mac's jab, both frame 1, which gives these characters some unique options. For example, when doing normal getup, it is very normal for people to punish that with a grab. However, the grab is a little bit easier to get because not only can you grab the 1 frame of lag of a normal getup, you can also grab the startup of a spell dodge. But if a character like Zero Suit or Little Mac comes up with the normal getup, then they can do a frame 1 jab, which gives you a lot less room to grab these characters. So frame 1 jabs are very potent in specific situations. It can also improve your offense where you get a unsafe move into a frame 1 attack afterwards. Very rare to have that. For both of them, the reward isn't amazing, but still having a frame 1 jab is amazing. Of course, also make sure spot dodge cancels a lot better, right? Spot dodge cancel jab leaves a lot less room to be punished than a lot of other tilts. So hope you enjoyed that fun fact. It's a nice thing to know, and it can be important against both Little Mac and Zero Suit. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I thought it was very fun to watch Proto win this event and beating an amazing player like Light at that. Hope you guys enjoyed the fun fact as well. I'll see you guys next time for another video. As always, stay smart.